Welcome back to a new episode of the Motorsport Enthusiast. I'm over here at where are we at again?
Speed Ventures?
Yes, but the
Streets of Willow.
Streets of Willow.
Springs.
I keep Streets of Willow Springs. I keep forgetting. I'm here with Walter. He's one of the instructors. He was helping me understand the track a little bit better. This is my first time ever doing this kind of course. Usually do autocross, as you guys seen in the previous videos. So today it's definitely unique and special for me, and I'm totally enjoying it. And Walter's been helping me out exactly how to drive the track and the terrain. But I figured we'd do an interview with Walter for him to give us some insight exactly what he does here, volunteer, what got him into racing here, and talk about a little bit about his car himself. So Walter, tell us, when did you start racing your car? What kind of car are you driving?
So my first track day was 2001, 20 years ago, and I'm the same as you. And I have no idea what I was doing. I was in the instructor's car, and then he was telling me what to do, and I got hooked ever since. So it's very fun driving on the track. So it depends on what kind of vehicles you have, but on the track, you want to explore your vehicle and your driving capability. I always tell my guys and then my students to know how to drive. It helps you in the real life situations. And
yes, it does. Now, I usually do autocross, and I was a little hesitant on here because we're going at faster speeds, right? And there seems to be more possibility of having an accident. But you made it very safe for me with the instructions. Why don't you tell us exactly what you do as an instructor to give us that security and safety that gives us the confidence to be able to drive on the track?
So it's very good that you started off with autocross because all you can hit is cones.
Yes, very much.
Versus here, there's a chance you may go off the track, but as instructors for beginners, we always want to do it at a safe and slow pace, especially for the first timers, because that way you can familiarize with the track and then your vehicles too. So you won't go too fast, too crazy, and then have any accidents. So I always encourage everyone to drive almost any kind of car on the track to learn how to drive better.
So I was going to ask that. Interesting enough, I'll post some pictures on Instagram. I saw a Scion XB, a Yaris, an old Corolla actually. Go figure, it would be on a track. They're great for handling. But I saw various amounts of cars. So Walter, do you need to have a specific vehicle to be on a track, or it doesn't really matter as long as you have a passion of wanting to drive on the track?
That question is basically comes down to how much money you want to spend.
That's true.
You can drive a pretty basic car, your daily driver, but at least what you do, you learn how to drive it, and then when there's anything happen on the road, you know how to react to the limit of the vehicle. So you're driving, but you're building yourself as a better driver. So
yes.
It doesn't matter what car you have. If you have more money, but we always encourage people to drive a slow car first, then a fast car, because you can learn a lot more with a slower vehicle, like a Miata.
Oh yeah, that kicked my butt today, unfortunately. But you know, it's all about the driver. And so Walter, what are you driving right now here on the track? It is your S2000 right here, correct?
Yes, I have a 2007 S2000, and I'm a big fan of S2000 because it's one of the most fun car to drive for the buck when it was cheaper. Now it gets a little bit more expensive, but still it's a very, very fun car. It's not the most modern type of vehicle, but it has a really good dynamic and it's a momentum car. So I love it.
Nice. Now, how did you become an instructor here, and how would someone who's interested in doing this come to the track to race their car? You volunteer as an instructor with Speed Ventures, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And so Speed Ventures, can you tell us exactly what? We're waiting for this RX-7 to come by. Can you tell us exactly what Speed Ventures is?
So Speed Ventures is one of the organizations biggest in SoCal that they organize many track days, and they just turned 20 years.
Oh wow!
So they started from 2001, and I really like Speed Ventures because they are very organized, and then also they make sure that all the clients are happy and safe with the service, as well as just happy and keep coming back.
And you know, signing up for Speed Ventures, I actually was trying to go last week to a race, except it was sold out. So they contacted me Thursday saying there was a race available Saturday, so I came. But they gave us very good instructions of what we need to do for our vehicle for a tech inspection. So I was prepared when I brought my car in. the instructor, obviously Walter did a great job, gave me the confidence that I need. Now we're going to go out by ourselves without an instructor. So it has been very organized and it's done very well. And I've been very happy with this experience. So anyone's interested coming out to Button Willow, or they do also other tracks, right?
Yes, mostly in California. The furthest they go is Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So or NorCal. So if you have done this and then you like it, you can go to Button Willow, or you can go to California Speedway. You can go to Sonoma, and you can go to Laguna Seca. They have these track days throughout the year.
Wow. And I'll go ahead and put them in the link in the description below. But other than that, Walter, thank you very much for the instruction today.
Sure.
Thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself, and hope to see you out on the track.
All right.
Thank you.
Right.
Oh, shit. All right, fellow enthusiasts, this is my first time on the streets of Willow, and what we're doing is we're following an instructor since this is our first time. So what they do is they set you up with an instructor to drive so you get familiar with the track. We just had our orientation in regards to what the flags mean. So now we're gonna get familiar with this track in our first run, which is about 20 minutes. And we're gonna take it slow. And then our second run, which is in a couple hours from now, we drive a lot faster. So here we go. See how we do. A little scared, but super excited. The most efficient while on the track. And again, being familiar with the track. Since we can get to pretty high speeds on the track. Yellow flag on the left saying cautious, so we gotta watch out for the flag people, because they're gonna tell us when it's safe to go ham on this. We gotta slow it down. So now he's moving into the inside. Woo, that's tight. Oh man, it's gonna be really fun. Definitely don't want to lose control here. Outside, in. Go. Yeah, this is definitely different from auto crossing. You definitely got to be very cautious. You really get a good feel for your car. The thing about this is you have to look ahead. Because being new, you get tunnel vision just looking at the road. You got to be paying attention to all your surroundings, because a lot of things can happen when you're going at high speeds. Right now we haven't even hit 60 yet, but you'll usually be going like a mid 80, I would imagine. But you got to be paying really close attention to everything, because of these high speeds. If you're not paying attention, well, shit happens to your car. All right, that was our first lap. Probably gonna go a little faster now. That spot right there, people tend to lose control because of how tight the turn is. Definitely pick it up a bit. So he's showing us his lines, and when they hit the apex, we're gonna go on the outside so we can carry our car in with minimal effort. Oh, there goes the traction control. There we go. Picking it up now. Yep, I think I found my new addiction. I absolutely love autocrossing, but man, this is definitely different. You definitely have to be a little bit more attentive. You really got to fill out your car too. And the thing is, while having to pay attention to the road, you got to pay attention to the people behind you. So when people want to pass you, thankfully, not having to do that at the moment because this is just an introduction. But on our third run, I'm going to have to be a little bit more attentive. I'm back. We definitely caught up with a slower group, so we're definitely going a lot slower than our second run. But figured this would be an opportunity to talk about some of the things that you probably should check on your car before driving, bringing it to the track. So on this particular track, I'm noticing that I'm having to make some pretty sharp turns. Now, if you bring your vehicle out here, if you have a sports car, it should be equipped with what's called a dry sump system, or they should have a pretty good oil pump to pump the oil. Like in this turn right here, oil shifts from one side to another. What happens, that starves your motor, and that can mess up your engine rods, the bearings, the rod bearings inside the engine. So one thing you want to do is check out some forums and see how much oil you should put in your car, particularly if it's a sports car, because there should be a lot of forums that have descriptions. Like in my case, I don't really need a dry sump system. I'm going to be doing this, but I definitely need to put a little bit more oil since I'm shifting back and forth so much. And we're going at relatively low speeds at the moment, but the G-forces, as you accelerate, are going to cause the oil to go to one side. So you definitely want to have enough oil to compensate. Yeah, we're definitely, the group ahead of us, a lot slower. So you want to keep that in mind before tracking your car. The last thing you want to do is take your car out here and, starve for oil. So obviously make sure the oil level's good. And if you need to put some extra oil to compensate for the sloshing that's going to go around, do that. Another key thing is your tires. Tires are going to be very key on this. Do not take your tires that are really worn and bring them out here like I'll just use them out when I'm here. No, don't do that. That's a big safety issue because these tires, they're going to go through a lot of G-force and they're going to get hot pretty quickly. The last thing you need is a blowout and going high speeds and something happening. It's not like typically driving on a freeway. You're taking these turns pretty hard, and again, the G-forces. Now I'm keeping my traction control on, and I'm feeling my traction control engage quite a bit. And I'm keeping it on just because I'm not too used to the track and I'm getting more familiar with my car. Autocrossing is pretty easy. If you lose control, no biggie. But you lose control here, it's a lot more detrimental to the car. So I'm doing it until I feel the tires warm up, where I don't feel as though I need the traction control and take it easy. But I don't think that's going to be the case in this run because of how slow the cars are going. But yes, tires is another key component before taking your car to the track. Oil level obviously is an important thing. Your brakes. We're not going fast enough where I'm needing to apply my brakes, but you are definitely going to want to make sure your brakes are good. Do not bring your vehicle in when your brakes are low. You'll probably go metal to metal before the end of the day. And one of the things that I'm probably going to experience after probably a couple runs here is I'm going to get some pulsation on my brakes. Usually it happens when your brakes get really hot. They tend to warp. I don't think I have performance brakes. I haven't swapped brakes out on this car yet, but more than likely that's going to happen. So just be aware of that. Coolant level, make sure your coolant level is good because you're going to be driving the car kind of hard. Again, right now, not too hard. Still in the beginning stages, but I can definitely see, especially if you come out during the summer, this kind of driving, you're going to need to keep up with your coolant level. So these are some of the key items to remember if you're going to take your vehicle out to the track. A lot of this still applies even going to autocrossing. You may not be as long on the autocrossing, but you drive your vehicle pretty hard as well. It may be for a quick minute, but you're doing a lot of stop and going for that minute, a little bit more than here, so it's pretty abusive on the car. So these are just key items that I'm noticing while driving my car that are important to do. Anytime you take it to a track like this, or you take an autocross. Hey you guys, fellow enthusiasts. So I'm on my way back right now from streets of Willow, and I gotta admit, it was extremely fun. I'm exhausted. So, you know, a couple takeaway points from after today's fun adventure. One of which is, if you live more than 3 hours away, I would strongly suggest and recommend that you get a hotel and spend the night prior. I am exhausted and I have a 3-hour drive ahead of me, and I will get home just before nightfall. I really wouldn't want to drive tired at night. I ended up actually having to miss my last session because I was not fully attentive, and obviously when you're driving those speeds and those turns, you need to be fully attentive. Also, I wiped out my previous session, my third session. So there's 4 sessions I'm supposed to do. I did 3, and I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. It was actually a pretty interesting. I did a whole 360. I spun in the dirt. When you're driving, you're supposed to have your windows down, and the whole car just got just dusted, and it took me about 20 minutes to get everything wiped down. But that was another thing I was going to lead to. In the video, I kept mentioning I was using traction control, and you keep traction control on. One of the things I realized in my third round, I wanted to see how much I could handle the car, and within my second lap, I lost it. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of which is my car. So I drive. You folks haven't noticed or don't know, I have an 02 E46 M3, and it's a great car. It's an amazing machine. Except the person who had it prior did not take care of a lot of the mechanical issues or suspension issues. Engine's solid, but suspension issues, it needs to be addressed. They have lowering springs, and I think because of the lowering springs and the bushings being bad and still having 19-inch rims, the traction on the vehicle isn't as good as it could be. And traction control really helped me out the first couple sessions, and I thought I became a little overconfident thinking I could do it without traction control, and I was wrong. I was dead wrong, and I became a little overconfident. And that's the one thing I do want to bring to your guys' attention. If you're first time out there, use traction control to get a feel for your car. And if you want to try without traction control, be soft on it and be hard on the spots where you feel as though if you were to lose control, you'd be okay. Luckily for me, where I lost control was a completely open piece of dirt. So I lost control, did a 360, cloud of dust, but my car didn't stall. I was able to get right back on the track. I had to get off for an inspection to make sure there's nothing that was like the bumper didn't fall off, or suspension components didn't break. But it was I'm glad that I lost control there, because if I would have lost control on the bend and went over, well, that's a whole other story. And that's something you got to be prepared for when you come out here. You gotta be humble with the car, and it may be fun. It's always fun, but you may have this false sense of confidence, thinking, "Oh, I can handle this. I can do this." Always have your guard up, because at those speeds and at those turns, you just don't know. And I would just strongly advise is use traction control the whole time. Again, if you don't, just go hard on the spots where you feel as though you'd be fine if you lost control. But that was a big takeaway today on that. Honestly, it stung it stung me a bit, my ego, I guess you could say. I mean, everyone does. It does for everyone. I guess for me, because this was my first go around in a big track like that, I have lost control in autocross, but I knew exactly what happened, and I wouldn't say that I purposely did it, but I knew what caused it. In this case, it was hard because I was turning so quickly, and I think the way I was going into the turns, my body rolled too much, and I wasn't as smooth as I could have been, and which caused the rear end to come out from underneath me, caused me to spin out. I'm thinking, pretty sure that's it. But either which way, just keep caution, but strongly advise doing it. Again, I did it with Speed Ventures. There's a whole bunch of other companies that rent the different tracks that you can go to. And you don't necessarily have to go to Streets of Willow, which, although I do recommend, because in Fontana there are walls, so